afternoon, everybody, and happy Monday. And of course, with it being Monday, I did go out to the post office to drop off orders for the store. And while I was there, I did check my own P.O. box, and I did actually have a package and an envelope from you guys awaiting me, and that is awesome, and I cannot wait to see what you guys sent. But we actually are going to wait until tomorrow because I did order something on Black Friday, which was supposed to have arrived today. The delivery date was today. It's actually getting delivered to my house, but for whatever reason, it never showed up. So I'm hoping by tomorrow it will arrive. So I'm going to hold off unboxing the stuff that you guys sent to me until tomorrow, because then hopefully that package coming to my house will arrive and we can just do all the unboxings together in one shot. So that's the idea, that's the plan. If that package does not show up, I'll still do the unboxing tomorrow, but I'm hoping it will arrive. That would be nice. So no worries though, because I do actually have something that some of you guys have been asking me about, and it is something I promised you, and that is the return of the Merry Movie Marathon. And for those of you who might be new to the channel, the Merry Movie Marathon is actually something I kind of do every year. I used to do it more heavily back when I first started. The last couple years I've sort of slacked a little bit, and I also used to do a Halloween Horathon, which I've also kind of been slacking on as well. The Halloween Horathon was me watching nothing but Halloween and horror-related titles from the first day of fall all the way up until October 31st. It's a blast, and then of course I review all the movies and talk about give my thoughts on all the movies. And the Merry Movie Marathon is pretty much the same exact thing, only it's nothing but holiday-related titles from Thanksgiving to New Year's. And by holiday, there's kind of a wide range in there. That's everything from, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, I mean, whatever else. It can be any kind of sort of holiday that fit, or sort of movie that fits into those holidays. And on top of that, it can also be kind of just wintry movies. So, like a a cheesy 80s ski movie, or, something like that. Just something with like a winter theme. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like holiday related necessarily. It just has to fit in with the kind of theme of this holiday season. So again, that's something I do pretty much sort of kind of every year, but again, I've been slacking sort of the last few years. So it is back. That is the plan. I can't necessarily guarantee you I will be watching a movie every single day, because I still am doing some work down here in the library. Oh my gosh, I have to shoot a new video for you guys, a bit of an update on the move. I decided to do something else down here, which is kind of really time consuming. It's not going to be done by the time I shoot the actual video of me shooting for the library tour. It's not going to matter. I can still shoot the library tour, but yeah, I'm always just piling things on top of me. So, I've been very busy lately, but still I've watched a bunch of movies. And anyway, we need to get down to this, because I am actually kind of behind on the Merry Movie Marathon and giving my reviews on these movies. I have stuff from back in Thanksgiving, so we need to dive into this nice pile here of movies I've recently checked out. A lot of great stuff. So let's dive in and let's see what all I've recently checked out as part of the Merry Movie Marathon. All right, so first up is a movie that's actually kind of new to me, and that is Pieces of April. This here being a Thanksgiving movie. This is one of those films that I used to see all the time. I would come across this at flea markets and pawn shops and yard sales and you name it. I would see this all over the place, and I would always pass on it because I had no idea what this was. I mean, Katie Holmes on the front looks pretty good, so I was always intrigued, but I did not know anything about this, so I passed on it for years, and then eventually came to realize, oh, it's a Thanksgiving movie. Well, now I'm even more intrigued, so I actually wanted to get it, and I think it was earlier this year I did actually finally pick up a copy of this, and I knew that I would be watching it this year, and it was okay. I was not blown away by this movie, and I know a lot of you guys do like this one, because when I mentioned that I was watching it on social media, a lot of you guys said, yes, it's a great movie, I love it, it's fantastic. I can see why people like it. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed the movie. I just wasn't blown away by it. I just thought it was kind of okay. I get the idea. I like the idea. It's this girl who's kind of estranged from her family. She's kind of the black sheep of her family, and her mom has cancer, and basically they're kind of trying to reconcile. The mom, they're going to her apartment to see her, and she's all excited about her family coming, and she's trying to prepare this dinner, and it's really about her preparing this dinner and her family traveling to see her, and, you know, what's going to happen once they get there. It's this whole thing, and of course, all the craziness that's kind of going on during this whole thing, like her having an issue with her oven's not working, and she has to figure out how to cook this bird, and her family, you know, again, traveling out there with her mom having cancer and the issues of that. So, it's interesting, kind of a dysfunctional family sort of film, and again, I can understand why people like this. For me, though, it just kind of fell flat in a way. I just was not blown away by this movie. I don't really see myself watching this one every, you know, Thanksgiving season. I don't see myself doing that. Not that I won't watch it again. It just won't be, you know, something I watch every year. So it was okay. In fact, what I actually find most interesting about this is the making of the film, which I don't think is, was it a document? Actually, you know what? This has an audio commentary. There's actually a chance I will be watching this one again next year with the audio commentary, because what I found most interesting, like I said, is the making of it, which I don't believe is a feature on here, but I actually Wikipedia did it? That makes no sense. I looked up information on the making of this film, and it was shot on like a shoestring budget. I mean, a very, very, very low budget to shoot this. You should seriously look it up. See how much the actors got paid. They got paid like nothing to make this film. It was just kind of thrown together, and that is very interesting. I really like kind of, you know, low budget, just kind of guerrilla style movies. I think that's very interesting, and makes for just an interesting feel to the movie. And the movie definitely has that kind of feel to it, which is actually why I looked up the making of it, because it felt very low budget as I'm watching it. Just the way it was filmed, and you know, the way the image looked, and the way just everything about it felt very low budget, which isn't a bad thing. It just had me intrigued, and I found the making of this, when I looked it up, very interesting. So I'm actually probably going to watch this one again maybe next year with the actual commentary, because I'm very interested to hear about that. So again, all in all, I wasn't blown away by this movie. I just thought it was okay. Definitely not my favorite Thanksgiving movie, but it is a Thanksgiving movie. There's not a lot of them out there, and I would actually recommend it if you're interested, because, again, a lot of you guys did seem to enjoy this film, as you guys told me on social media. So there's a following to this. A lot of you guys like it, but for me personally, just coming into this for the first time ever in the year 2017, I wasn't blown away. Just kind of thought it was all right, but again, not bad. But then, this is a classic, one of the best, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Now, this here is a movie I pretty much watch every Thanksgiving season. I love this one. By far, one of the best Thanksgiving movies ever. Like, what, this, Dutch, there's not many more Thanksgiving movies. There's a few more out there, but this is definitely, you know what, I'm going to say it. The best Thanksgiving movie ever? I know. Probably is. I love this one. It's hilarious. A John Hughes movie, which just in of itself should say something. It's perfect. It's hilarious from start to finish. It's just, I mean, come on, John Candy and Steve Martin. I mean, such a fantastic team up right there. Steve Martin, by far, is one of the funniest men to ever live. And I mean, John Candy plays the perfect, like, how do I want to describe him? Just pain in the butt. I mean, he's great at playing that kind of character. We've seen it so many times in other movies where he just kind of plays, you know, either he's a pain in the butt or he's just kind of like your everyman who's just kind of, you know, can kind of get under your skin at times. He's great at playing that character, and he does it to a T in this movie. It's hilarious watching him just drive Steve Martin like insane. I love it. It's fantastic. Again, one of the best Thanksgiving movies ever made. If you have not seen this movie, why? See it. It's fantastic. Definitely something you got to check out. It's hilarious. It's amazing. And it's pretty much perfect. I can't think of a single bad thing to say about this movie. I love it. I love the ending. Of course, a typical kind of feel-good sort of John Hughes moment at the end. I love the ending of this because, you know, what these guys, I'm not going to spoil it for you, for those of you who haven't seen it, but what these guys go through together and all, just the insanity throughout the whole movie, and then that nice kind of heartfelt, like, touching at your heartstrings moment at the end, done beautifully. So, again, you see it if you haven't. It's amazing. So then I had to check out Bad Santa, because I did buy Bad Santa 2, and I just, you know, whatever, gotta watch the first one again, even though I have seen this movie like 9,000 times. And I love this one as well. I remember seeing this one in theaters, and I loved it from the get-go. Billy Bob Thornton plays, like, the best, again, how to put this PC, the guy's a jerk. I mean, he's like the biggest a-hole in the world. I mean, he plays the character to a T, which, from interviews I've heard and from things I've heard from people who have interviewed him, maybe that the apple hasn't, I don't want to see the apple hasn't fell. I can't talk. Again, I'm trying to think. I can't curse in these videos. From what I've heard, the character he's playing in here isn't far from the actual man himself. That's how I should put it. Apparently, he is a bit of a jerk in real life. So I don't know, but he's a drunk. He's a boozer. He's rude to everybody. He's only looking out for himself. It's amazing, and I love them trying to, you know, do these robberies, and him, you know, coming so close so many times to screwing the entire thing up, but it kind of working out all in the end. So I love this movie. It's amazing, and Lorelai Gilmore's in it, so you can't go wrong there. But anyway, brilliant film. It's one of the best kind of modern day Christmas comedies out there. It's raunchy. It's a raunchy Christmas comedy, but I love it. It's great. It's nice to see you know, a bit more edgy Christmas comedy out there. It's fantastic. So definitely see this if you haven't, but I'm sure most of you have. And then the reason why I had to watch that is because I wanted to check out Bad Santa 2, which I will admit was not nearly as bad as I was expecting. I didn't love the film, but I was expecting it to be much worse. From the trailers I saw, I could not believe what I was seeing. The trailers made me cringe. I saw that and thought, wow, this is going to be like the worst movie ever made. They were using jokes. Every line they put in the trailer just seemed horrible. There was no doubt in my mind this was going to be just complete garbage. But in the end, like I said, it wasn't as bad as I thought. It was okay. Does it hold up to the first movie? No, they're just trying to kind of rehash the first movie again, which works in a sense, but at the same time, it just kind of feels like it feels like a poor version of this. This is supreme. It's amazing. It's funny. It's fantastic. It's extremely well done. It's brilliant, and it feels like, again, they're just trying to kind of redo it again, and it just doesn't come out quite as strong. Still, okay, so if you want to see this, I would say check it out, but the fact that some characters come back in this, I didn't know Kathy Bates was in it. That was a surprise. I had no idea that was going to happen. Her character was interesting. I always love seeing her play these characters too, because Kathy Bates is fantastic. She can go from playing this kind of, you know, nice character to playing things like crazy characters like Misery and stuff like that, or characters like the mom of Billy Bob Thornton in this movie, which is, yeah, it's an insane character. So again, it wasn't bad. It was okay. It was enjoyable. Had a nice, you know, kind of another heartfelt kind of moment at the end. It's fun to see Billy Bob Thornton in this movie play this, you know, just this horrible guy, but you know, like deep down, there's something there. He's not necessarily a horrible guy, like deep down. He's just got some issues, and some of those issues do come to light and are explained in this movie. So, again, it's not the best. It did kind of feel like a poor man's version of the first movie, them just trying to rehash sort of the same story again, but it does kind of work. It is okay. It's just not nearly as good as the original. The original is definitely far superior, but again, not as bad as I was expecting. So if you're in the same ballpark as me and you're thinking, do I really want to see this movie? Give it a watch. You might actually like it. Then, actually watched this one with my son, Arthur Christmas. Unfortunately, not in 3D. I was actually really looking forward to watching this in 3D this year, but my son was with me, and he's not the biggest fan as a 3-year-old of watching movies in 3D yet. That will come, hopefully someday. But again, we checked this out together, and he loved it, and oh my gosh. This here is by far one of the best modern Christmas movies, in my opinion. It is so incredibly well done. I love the story of the different Santas throughout the year. I like how they say it's not just one guy. It's a family, and you know, Santas come and go. They die off, and a new Santa takes over, and a Santa retires, and another Santa comes. And there's this great story about this dad, Santa Claus, and the 2 sons. One's kind of, you know, the big, you know, the kind of head honcho, the one who's basically at this point kind of running Christmas, and the one who's definitely going to take over, and then Arthur, who's kind of the bumbling idiot, again, the black sheep of the family, but the one who definitely has the most Christmas spirit, and the whole idea of this toy being left behind, and Santa and the other, you know, the kind of head honcho's son being like, well, we still did really well, it's just one present, I mean, it's only one kid, I think we did pretty well, you know, are we really going to stress out over missing one kid? And of course, Arthur with his Christmas spirit says, are you kidding me? We cannot miss a kid. This one kid waking up in the morning and not finding a present from Santa can destroy this entire kid's life, and he can't comprehend this, so him having to go out and deliver this present, and of course, the amazing, definitely makes me cry every single time ending of this film. When they're all in the closet watching the kid open up, you know, the bike, and what goes on, man, the tears start coming down my face. So I love this film. I cannot recommend this one enough. If for any reason you have not seen Arthur Christmas, see it. If you're not a fan of animated movies, I don't care. See it. It's one of the best Christmas movies ever made. If I had to do a top 10 list, which I'm not going to do, I hate doing top 10 lists. I'm horrible at them because I keep second guessing myself, but I could pretty much say if I were to do a top 10 Christmas movie list, this would probably be in there because it is that good. So Arthur Christmas, you gotta see it. Check it out. And then, speaking of top 10, I can tell you already what my #1 all-time favorite Christmas movie is, and the movie that would be #1 on that list, and that is Home Alone. This is, again, the greatest Christmas movie ever made, in my opinion, for the fact that it gets you in that Christmas spirit. Now, I know I kind of ruined it. This is usually the Christmas movie I watch first to get myself in that Christmas watching spirit. Again, I did watch a few other movies before, obviously, but still, until I watched this one, I wasn't really in the Christmas spirit yet, because this one here just gets me in that mood for Christmas. I used to watch this all the time as a kid, and I think, again, another John Hughes movie, he does a fantastic job with this film as well, just like he did with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It gets you in that spirit. It just has Christmas all over this movie. And even though you could kind of argue that it's just a movie that takes place during Christmas, I have heard some people say that, and I kind of sort of see where they're coming from. But at the same time, this movie has everything from like the perfect usage of Christmas music. And even though Kevin has been left home alone while his family is off on vacation, you're living Christmas through this little kid's eyes. Even though, again, he's having to defend his house from burglars who are trying to rob the neighborhood, you still see everything from putting up a Christmas tree to watching Christmas movies to you know, him at church. What else? Just, you know, all the Christmas stuff you go through as a kid, and him having to actually do it himself. All the traditions that a child would go through Christmas, but usually with his family doing it pretty much for him at this age. He's actually having to do it, and he's still doing all these traditions. And it just, again, it reminds me of being a kid at Christmas, and that is why I love this film so incredibly much. Again, it just puts you in that spirit of Christmas, and again, I cannot think of a single better movie that just says Christmas. Now, maybe I'm biased because I grew up with this one, but again, for me, this is just the Christmas movie to end all Christmas movies, and the one I usually start things off with, and the one that actually gets me in the Christmas spirit. And then, of course, because I watched Home Alone, I had to check out Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Yes, it is just the same movie basically over again, only this time Kevin's now in New York and not at his home, I guess in Chicago. But it is pretty much the same exact story, but I don't care because the first movie is so good. I'll watch it for a second time. Of course, again, this time Kevin's lost in New York now, and of course Marv and Harry have busted out of jail, and they happen to be in New York as well, where they're ready to rob Duncan's toy chest. And Kevin has to put a stop to that, and he sets up a whole new crazy house of torture for Marv and Harry, and it's just the hilarity ensues, and again, it's fantastic. Now, is it as good as the first movie? No, but is it still an extremely strong sequel? Yes, I love this one again. It's fantastic. And again, even though it is the same movie for a second time, I mean, seriously, his parents... The child services would be all over these parents in real life. I mean, there's no way you can leave your kid home alone twice, like, right in a row. That's crazy. But again, the fact that it happens again is pretty insane. You know, could that ever really happen? Probably not. It probably couldn't happen the first time, let alone 2 times in a row. But who cares? It's fantastic. It's amazing. And these movies here, Christmas classics and definite must-sees. I love them so much. Then I watched another movie with my son. Well, I guess not a movie, it's a TV special, and that was How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the animated one. And again, a classic, one I grew up with every single year. It's a great telling. The animation's beautiful, the music's beautiful, everything about this is beautiful, and my son absolutely loved it. He was talking about this one for a few days afterwards, which is fantastic. We did actually try to watch the live action one the next day, and he thought the Grinch was scary, was not really having it. And to be honest, Jim Carrey as the Grinch, if I was watching it as a 3-year-old, I could completely understand why he might be frightened by the Grinch. So in a couple years, hopefully, he'll be ready to watch the live action one, because I like the live action one. But in the meantime, he's a big fan of the animated one, and I can see us watching this one every single year. It's a classic. Why would I not watch this with my son every year? And it's only, what, 30 minutes long, so that's always a plus too. So awesome. Then another movie I watched with my son, and that is The Santa Claus. He loved this one as well, and it's fantastic. Wow, is it dated though? Once it's from it's like 94 or something like that, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the CGI on this one, it's something I never, for some reason, really paid all that much attention to until this year. And I'm watching the CGI and thinking, oh, wow, that is bad. That is very early CGI. And you notice it, especially in high definition. You notice how bad it is. I mean, it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Watch the movie, haven't seen it in a while. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's like, it looks like cutouts at some point, like a cutout sled flying around, and when it lands on the roof, it's like, it's bad. Anyway, but still, it's a great movie. I love the idea. I mean, the beginning of this movie had me worried watching with my son, because I was a little scared, because Santa Claus, I mean, spoiler, okay? Spoiler for those of you who haven't seen it. Santa Claus dies in the beginning of the movie. He falls off the freaking roof, off Tim Allen's roof, Scott Calvin's roof. He falls off it and dies, and Scott puts on the suit, and now, because of the Santa Claus, he's now to become Santa. And kind of a disturbing way to start off a children's movie. I mean, Disney had some cojones there to kill Santa off at the beginning of a movie. I mean, that's pretty crazy, but it makes for a really good story with Scott Calvin, SC, Santa Claus, having to go through this craziness of him actually becoming Santa, and he's got this son through a failed marriage, and you know he's got a divorce. So his wife's off with her new husband, played by Judge Reinhold, which is always a plus because pretty much anything Judge Reinhold's in, I'm a fan of. So it's a craziness of him actually turning into Santa, and you know the other side of the family like not believing what's going on and thinking he's completely lost his mind, and him having to try to come to terms with all this, and it's crazy. It's awesome. It's a really weird movie when you actually think about it. Like the more I think about it, it's bizarre, but it's fun, and I really do like this one. And again, it starts off by killing Santa, but it works. It's fun. It's good. And my son, as a 3-year-old, actually really enjoyed this one. And I told him, well, you're in luck because there's 2 more, and we will be watching those at some point as well, probably this holiday season. So Santa Claus, it's a great Disney movie. See it. And then to finish things up, a movie I did not watch with my son, To All A Goodnight. Yes, I had to check this out. And it was okay. It definitely has that like early 80s horror, like kind of low budget horror feel and story. It's your typical kind of revenge story. So prom night and Friday the 13th and about 15 other movies where like somebody dies and then a character is going after people who really had nothing to do with kind of what happened anyway. But although I forget, in prom, it's been a long time since I watched Prom Night. Is the killer actually going after the people who killed the person in prom? I forget. Anyway, but still, it's one of those stories. It's kind of a revenge story, and who's the killer, which, by the way, if you haven't figured out who the killer is about 5 minutes into this movie, you need to watch more horror movies, because I was like, oh, that's the killer, and sure enough, it was. But still, it was fun. It was interesting. It's in the sorority house, and there's, it's Christmas break, and they've invited some boys over, and people start getting killed off. Some fun kills. I liked that. But again, people start getting killed off, and it's being done by somebody in a Santa Claus costume, and who's doing it? Who's killing people in this movie? And then, of course, we come to find out who it is, and why it is, and again, if you've seen enough horror movies, you're gonna know pretty much right off the bat. After the opening scene of the one girl accidentally getting killed, you pretty much know why the killings are happening, and you can pretty much figure out probably who's doing it. But still, it was interesting. So, did I love this movie? No. I would put it up there with like Black Christmas, where I know Black Christmas is a classic to a lot of people. I find Black Christmas to be just kind of okay. I like it. I'm not in love with it, and that's kind of the same way I feel with To All A Goodnight. I enjoyed it. It's worth a watch. In fact, I might actually say this is a little bit better than Black Christmas in my opinion. I like the killings in this one. I like a good slasher. Black Christmas had more of a I mean, it was a slasher, but it had more of a thriller kind of feel to it. This one was a straight up slasher in my opinion. And of course, a killer Santa is always fun. So I like this one maybe a little bit more, but I would say if you're a fan of Christmas horror movies, it is one to check out. It was enjoyable. Again, not my favorite of the genre, but still a good watch, and had some interesting kills. And even though it's extremely predictable in the year 2017 with, I'm sure many of you having seen many horror movies, and at that point, you can pretty much guess exactly what's happening and who's doing what, but still, it's a good watch. It's fun. I like the characters in it. There's some really goofy kids in this movie, which actually make for some interesting moments, but all in all, pretty decent, worth a watch. Not my favorite, but if you like a good slasher movie, if you like a good Christmas horror movie, it is still one to check out. So there you go, guys. That is it. That's everything I've recently watched, and the beginnings of the Cinema Sickness Merry Movie Marathon 2017. So that's awesome. So a lot more holiday and Christmas and wintry movies coming your way very soon. So alright guys, that is it. So as always, thank you all so much for checking out this video. Be sure to hit that like button down below. Also, if you want to see a brand new video from me every single day, hit that subscribe button and you're going to get one. Also, be sure to check out Patreon, where you can help support the show. The simple donation of $1 a month really does help out, goes a long way, and goes right back into these videos. Also, be sure, it also gains you early access on most of my videos as well. I need something to drink. Also, be sure to check out Spreadshirt, where you can grab yourself many designs of Cinema Sickness t-shirts. Again, proceeds help the show. And, oh my gosh, I need something. I'm going nuts. I need caffeine. And as always. And also be sure to check out the Cinema Sickness store on Instagram, most importantly, where you can pick up all kinds of awesome media. Again, proceeds really do help the show. Are very much appreciated. And links to all that can be found down below in the description of this video. So again, that is it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. I'm going to go to McDonald's and I'm going to get myself a Coke. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. What? Did you guys think I was joking? I never joke about Coca-Cola.